Black Butler, episode 7, chat. Let's take a look at this. I thought this was pretty fun. This was a fun episode. You see a little bit more of the setup that she's going to be leaving her cage, really. Because this character is pretty much a, hey, I'm stuck in a bird cage kind of thing. I really think so, chat. I really think she has that, hey, I want to go out and see more of the world. And we get to see more of how that has been her driving force, right? She's lonely. Also, be sure to hit that sub button and hit that like button, chat. We are very close to getting monetized, so that'll help us out a lot. So she's daydreaming because she has to finish up that seal, right? She has to finish it up, and she said she said to herself, like, if I finish this magic circle, I get to go out into the world, hang out with whoever the heck this is. I can't remember his name. I know Sebastian, but I forgot his name. Sakura. Yeah, there it is. So she finally finishes the circle. Her voodoo magic. Chat, I heard voodoo magic, you're not supposed to use it to harm people. In fact, it's very bad in the voodoo world. Anyway, and then you have the I don't know why I call this the furry convention. When I was watching this, I'm like, that's what popped up to my head. I'm like, huh. So she finished the circle and they start howling. Oh, wait a minute. I just remember the rest of this episode. This episode was crazy. Oh my gosh. This episode was absolutely crazy, chat. Man, oh man, when I saw this, when I finished this, I was like, I had to stop and read the comments. I'm like, ain't no way. We also get to see her, them break her foot because I don't know if they broke her foot or they just like really tighten it up. King Remedy says, really, I feel like voodoo is shown exclusively to hurt people in all media. And that's the problem, King Remedy. I think I was watching a documentary and they said it's very taboo to use voodoo to hurt others and use voodoo to help yourself. You have to use voodoo to help others. If you do anything aside from that, you're like, it's gonna like a backfire on you. That's at least that's what this little old voodoo lady said. So who knows, chat? Who knows? That's why a lot of in a voodoo media, like a movie like that, a Princess and the Frog with a voodoo guy, he got like he was using it to make deals with people, but tricking them. I don't know. It was weird. It's weird. I gotta rewatch it. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to help people, not hurt people. But in this scene, we get to see them like I think they break the foot. They just tight, like make it really tight to mold it. I think they break the foot. I'm pretty sure. But it's so wild because they used to do this in like China or just like a lot of places around the world where they would bind the foot to make it much more dainty. Ugh, jeez, like why? That's it. I mean, dumber things have happened around the world, chat, like Klondike bars. Anyway, King Remedy says, when I think of voodoo, my first thought is always Chucky the doll. I love Chucky, right? I love Chucky. I've seen everything Chucky. I know all the Chucky lore. The only lore I don't know is what happened in the TV series. Anyway, on to, like, I'm getting sidetracked. So she pops the question like, hey, now that I finished the circle, can I finally see the rest of the world? And he's like, nah, that's not happening. You're going to stay in here for the rest of your life. He's sad about it. He's not like, mean about it, but he's sad about it, but she's kind of like taken aback. But you see these two come into her window, say, hey, like, we want to show you the world, right? And she's happy. Now this is the crazy part. This is one of the crazy parts, chat. And I'm talking about different types of crazy, not the same kind of crazy, all right? So he's all better. Our boy is all better. And he comes in to thank her. And she's like, I see. And then she says the craziest thing I've ever heard. She says the craziest thing, chat. Oh my gosh. So she says, you want to thank me physically by arranging a feast for me on your naked body, correct? And I'm like, this girl is a freak. This girl is a freak. She's a weirdo. Like, ain't no way she said that. Ain't no way she said that. Now, someone in the comments says, of these videos says there's a reason why she acts like that. He didn't tell me exactly why she acts like that, but it's supposedly because um, is that they have to pass on the title of witch by like birthing like a hair, right? So that's why it's in the culture. It's like, hey, we've done people. We have to finish the circle, right? We have to finish the circle. So you when I die, my daughter will take my place, and I think that's the case. And around this time, I don't know how long that they live. So it's kind of like that. So I'm pretty sure she's just been taught that by her mother or her grandmother. Um, and I know a lot of people are gonna get bent out of shape, but whatever. As in Alphonse, or is it Alphonse? No, it's not Alphonse. The main character, like, no, what are you, insane? Now, this scene was so crazy that even the bookkeeper was like, she wanted me to show you guys some manga, right? A certain character from one of her manga, her light novel manga, who is like on that same kind of energy. No, actually, she's on she's on a whole nother level, than this girl here. So this character, her name is 4273, because this is from the book from the light novel manga, the light novel. Light novels are words with manga in it. Anyway, Princess Space Marine 2217, and this is 4273, and she's a pervert. She's a crazy pervert, and her mother, who's like the queen of her species, who's birthed thousands of her kind. She's like the queen of perverts, really. Felines, they're always in heat kind of thing. Now she said something like this in one of the manga scenes. They was examining. There was at what's it called? They were examining. There was at this military orientation, right? I don't know if you've seen YouTube videos where how the orientation goes, but I don't know if you've seen them. But this is pretty much one of those. So she has a really good nose, and she's I can smell every inch of him, and and he's not like some other these slaves that are in the story. And she says this outlandish thing. She says, let me get this over here. She says he smells breedable, right? And the craziest thing that happens next is that she says that he smells breedable, right? Also, if you can tell me what Pokemon this character looks like you might win a cookie, because this is based off after a Pokemon. Because there's another book that the bookkeeper has where the Pokemon are they become rebellious and humanoids. All these stories, chat. Apparently, what the bookkeeper says is that think of Kids Next Door, right? But on a very much more violent and much more berserk kind of level, even well past that. So something to keep in mind for those of you who want to pick this up. So what she says that next, she goes up on stage in front of the whole crowd, something you're not supposed to do at a military orientation, by the way. You're really not supposed to do that. And just says, "Sit on my face," to the officer. You're not supposed to do that. I haven't read this chat because I don't read, but from what I've heard, that it doesn't end too well for her, because you're not really supposed to do that. You're not. So that's a little bit that the bookkeeper wanted me to share with you guys about how similar these types of, because the bookkeeper says there needs to be more female characters, right? There needs to be more female characters who are perverts, if that makes any sense. And I know what you're thinking. That look right there looks like a pervert look, but it's not. Anyway, and she's clearly, you could see that with a lot of these more and more female characters throughout a lot of these anime. And so it's looking very interesting, because the stereotype or the trope is that the guy is after the girl, but in this situation it's in reverse. And I think that's a very interesting way of writing the characters. It's changing up the game, chat. It's changing it up, and not changing it up in a woke kind of aspect. By the way, it's more of just something fresh, something new. Now, if they change it up and did more, I don't know. It's like a cooking, right? It's like a plate of food. If it's not created just right, then it falls off. Like, let's say today you wanted to make something that's sweet, like a something that's sweet and it's delicious, right? Well, you decided, like, you know what? I want to change it up. How could we make this same dish, but without any of the sweetness, but it's make it salty? First off, I would call you insane, because if you tried to make a honey bun salty, you have messed with the. I almost cursed. I almost cursed. I really did. That'd be the first I've ever cursed live. Jeez Louise. You would be messing with the secret formula, right, of a honey bun. Don't do that. That's very bad. That's very bad. I've seen SpongeBob. I see what happens when you mess with the secret formula. So she agrees to leave her bird cage, right? And she said something more crazy, outlandish, right, chat? She was like, you have like extraordinary magical aptitude within you. And then she says this, those excellent genes, I want them. I don't like it. You would miss that if this right here didn't happen. Like he was like, don't don't try to turn my butler into a criminal, like, pretty much. And I'm like, well, first off, he is a criminal. How many people has he killed or hurt or maimed? A lot, right? Like, clearly. What you mean to say, don't turn my butler into a creep. And I still think he's a creep, but he isn't like top tier creep, if that makes any sense, chat. He isn't top tier creep. I wish that King Remedy says, say it, coward, say the naughty word. That's crazy. That's crazy. I really wish what they did with Sebastian is that she was one of the very few that knew that Sebastian was a demon. I wish. There may still be time for that, but because they touched upon that just a little bit in the past episodes. So she knows that he is different, that these two are different. She knows, but she just hasn't quite heard that bit of information. They kind of glossed past that, and I wish they didn't, because that would have been very unique. It would make our main character and hers bond a little bit closer, right? I think so. I really think so. But at the same time, it's cool that they don't, because it makes it seem much more mysterious. I like that. I like the more mysterious. I like to know that I don't know what's going to happen next. And in doing so, so here's the thing. Because she doesn't know 100%, I don't know 100%. You know what I'm saying, chat? The more secrets he holds, and the more secrets he holds, is the more fun for me as the viewer. If you put it all out on the table, chat, it can become very boring. That's why you have anime where the main character who's training to do something, he's like we don't see any of the skills or techniques that he's holding. He's like in his back pocket, because we don't know how he's going to do it or what he's going to use, kind of thing. Like he's like, I'm gonna save this for later, kind of thing. And I think that's why it's great that she doesn't know, or she only knows so much, kind of thing. Like, cause she is pretty much what I'm saying is that she went down the path of like knowing what's going on, but he kind of, and she probably did this to herself a little bit, kind of directed that path to the left a little bit, so she's not on track 100%. So it's kind of like that. We get to see a little bit more of why or what's going on, like this miasma and all this other stuff. This is, I'm telling you, chat, this episode blew my mind by the end. We're gonna get there. So they talk about more about what the miasma is and what the wolves are, or a little bit of that. And then we see what's underneath the spell area, and it's this room, right? And I was like, what? This room is like tracking all of the people inside the village. And I'm like, what? And she's like, no, that's not true. This is like that's not that's not true. And it's track. They're being tracked by the medallions that you know those two medallions that she gave them at the beginning. There are trackers in those, and she's like, no, that's not true. That's not true whatsoever. So we get to the next room where we see the how the miasma is created, and I'm like, oh man, I was at the edge of my seat when I saw this room. Like, it's being created. What? And then we see this old lady again, of course. You think she was the old witch, chat? Like the like she was in the little girl's place a long time ago? It's hard to say. Hard to say. She's probably seen it all and done it all. She probably smells terrible too. So this right here is the miasma. Right there. And it turns out that that wasn't a magic spell whatsoever. That was just the formula to making some military grade toxic gas. And I'm like, what? I was like, and they was using this girl to make it. So she's incredibly smart, and her mother and her mother before her was incredibly smart. So apparently she passed on like very intelligent genes. Like, and I'm like, I wonder how that works. But that's what they were doing this whole time. And these right here, man, I was shocked. These wolves are nothing more than guys in like masks. And like, I'm like, ain't no way. I was shocked by this, chat. I was shocked by this. Because, you know, there's magic in this like world, right? But this was not magic. None of this was magic. It was all just some underground cover up for like some military stuff. Oh man, this is why I love Black Butler, chat. I love this anime. This is why I honestly love it, because this wasn't, even though they had magic, they have demons and all this stuff inside of this universe, they're not using any of that. In fact, I don't think they even know they exist. It's like, think of the mafia, right? Think of the mafia. Or think of some thugs, right? These are pretty much thugs, while the demons are the mafia, or even beyond that, the government, or even beyond that, some Illuminati type stuff. It gets deep, chat. There's some layers to this. Also, I wanted to point out something very important. The animation in this is phenomenal. Like the detail. So I think this is charcoal or something like that. Something that absorbs the toxins in the air. I think they might use charcoal. But you can see that the little pieces have fallen to the ground from here, right? And I think that is cool. That is very cool. That is so cool. They did miss, now that I'm looking at it, they did miss to make, forget to make this little part black. So it's kind of, because in this scene right here, the noses were black right here. The noses were black. So, I mean, it's that little detail, but whatever. Maybe it's the lighting, chat. Maybe it's the lighting. But they seem to be going out of their way to make sure they got every little detail, right? Now, her whole world of magic, like, so she pretty much got lied to. She had her legs taken, or her feet taken, her ability to walk. She was lied to, man, over some fake magic. Wasn't even real. And I think, now that I think about it, her butler, he was conflicted about this. It was his job to do this, but maybe he was like, not brainwashed, but he was like being forced these lies. I think that's what that was. Could you, man, chat, what kind of monster do you have to be to lie to a kid, right? What lie to a kid, put them in a position like that, take their feet and brainwash them like that? I mean, granted, she's very intelligent because she managed to finish the formula for a very, very dangerous gas. So, I mean, what other 9-year-old or however old she is can do that? Prodigies, chat. Apparently her bloodline's like births prodigies. Yeah. How many butter knives does he have on him, by the way? Anyway, this episode just blew my mind, chat. I should have known she was in on this. Because I thought she was just some crazy lady, you know, just saying like just promoting more hatred towards our visitors. I didn't know that she was going to be in on this. This is why I like Black Butler, because I get surprised. I don't like anime where it's too predictable. I'm not saying I hate the anime when it's predictable. I'm just saying like I prefer anything that I don't see coming. I'll still enjoy the anime for what it is, but I just you know what I mean, chat. I'm not trying to downplay or badmouth anything, right? There are a lot of anime out there, just like there are different food dishes. I enjoy it for what it is, but this Black Butler is getting very interesting. What I'm probably also going to watch, chat, has been out already. There's a anime series of this Black Butler where the main character goes to her school or something like that. I'm gonna probably watch that. I probably won't cover it, or if I do, I'll just do one episode, one video of it. But it looks pretty interesting. Someone was talking about it. Hopefully, it provides something new to the story. But because this is going to be wrapping up soon. This is going to be wrapping up soon. Also, I forgot to mention that the queen wants to see this girl, wants to speak with her. So I'm not really sure how that's going to play out. He's probably going to punch her in the face. I don't know. Say, hey, stop being a pervert. Wop. Anyway, chat, on with the rest of the show.